Hello and welcome back to the Grand Prix World Series. My name is Topher Smith, and today we head back to Britain as Donington Park makes its debut on the Grand Prix World Series calendar. As ever, we're going to start off with League 2 today, so let's remind ourselves of the drivers and team standings heading into this one. At the top of League 2, Ryo Hirakawa, he scored 2 wins in a row but was unable to complete the hat-trick in Marrakesh. Despite that, he still leads the standings on 84 points, 9 ahead of Yeye in the Prix, who hasn't won a race yet this season, but consistent point scoring has put him second in the championship on 75. 3 ahead of Romain Grosjean in the Spiker, who won last time out in Marrakesh. Pato O'Ward are single points behind Romain Grosjean, and a single point ahead of Colton Herta. The meat in a Spiker sandwich is the Mexican. Nyck de Vries 6th in the Toyota on 65 ahead of Felix Rosenqvist, Gabriele Mini, Luke Browning and Daniel Kvyat propping up the top 10 on 29 points. And in the teams, Toyota and Spiker have formed a little bit of a breakaway group as it stands. 149 points and 142 points each for those two teams, with Ram Racing a bit further behind on around 100 points. Prema are 4th on 96 ahead of 40 Corsa on 71, Simtek on 67, Bimota KRT on 57, Opel on 49, Eindames on 27 and Mazda rounding out the top 10 on 23. And in the bottom reaches of the League 2 team standings, Chip Ganassi on 22, Saxspeed on 15 and M Sport on 6. M Sport in particular will be looking to get some points at their home Grand Prix today here in Donington Park. There are no driver changes to make note of for today, so let's get straight to the qualifying results. And on pole once again this season it is Nyck de Vries. The real benchmark in qualifying this season has been the Dutchman. He's been fantastic in qualifying. Can he convert that into a 4th victory of the season for the Toyota team? He is ahead of both of the Spikers of Colton Herta and Romain Grosjean, and then championship leader Ryo Hirakawa 4th in the second Toyota. Daniel Kvyat 5th in the Opel ahead of Yeye in the Prema. Felix Rosenqvist and Earl Bamber qualify on the 4th row ahead of Joel Eriksson and Tomoki Najiri, who puts both Premas into the top 10. Pato O'Ward 11th ahead of Kakuna Shina-Ota, who has kept his seat after a trial run last time out in Marrakesh, scoring points for the Simtek team. Joseph Newgarden and Scott McLaughlin, Penske teammates in real life, and they line up together in 13th and 14th for today's race. Igor Fraga 15th ahead of Finn McLaughlin and Antonio Giovinazzi. Then Ayumu Iwasa, Dorian Pant and Leonardo Fornaroli round out the top 20. And at the back, Nick Cassidy, Charles Malaysi, Gabriele Mini, Steph Dusterdorp, Jamie Chadwick and Philippe Salaquada, the only driver outside of a second of the pole time for today's race. So what sort of racing will Donington Park produce on its first time on the Grand Prix World Series calendar? There's only one way to find out. Let's hand it over to our regular commentator Tom Cairns, who is ready and waiting in the commentary box. So Tom, let's hand it over to you.
It's time for the Battle of Britain, and what better place to do it than at Donington Park. Nyck de Vries on pole again, Colton Herta in the Spiker next. This is going to be a very tasty encounter here in Leicestershire. Lights on and lights off, it's go. Donington's a good start from Nyck de Vries, who's powering his way clear of the rest into Redgate Corner for the first time. The Dutchman is clear. Ryo Hirakawa dicing for second place with Colton Herta as they come through the crane of curves, but it's the Spiker who remains in P2. But look at the gap already that de Vries has over the others. He leads coming through the old hairpin. Herta second, Hirakawa third. It's Yeye in 4th place in the Prema. He's up 2 positions at the start. Earl Bamber is also up to 5th place in the Chip Ganassi. Grosjean down to 6th place from 3rd on the grid. Not a good start for him, with Tomoki Najiri, Joel Eriksson, Pato O'Ward and Danny Kvyat running out the top 10. Starkey straight they come. They're using the full Grand Prix layout of this course, so it's through the left and right chicane before Melbourne Hairpin, and there's a move from El Bamber on Yeye. So El Bamber continuing to have a lightning start to this race, and he's hoping to get Chip Ganassi up the order in the team standings. There's Yeye going back on the inside at Melbourne Hairpin. So brilliant battle raging on running between the Prema and the Chip Ganassi into the Goddard Hairpin for the first time, and that's the first of 57 laps done in this League 2 Donington Park Grand Prix. Right on board with the Opel, that is Danny Kvyat, who's sat behind his teammate Joel Eriksson, whilst Philip Salaquada enters the pit lane for Saxspeed. It's a long way back for him. There are a lot of laps, so we expect pit strategy to very much vary around here. We usually see some drivers do the one stop, others doing the two. Expecting the one-stoppers to come around lap 17 to 21. Or two stops, I should say, coming in from lap 17 to 21. And then the one-stoppers coming around about halfway distance. That's contact involved in the M-Spot and the promoter. That was a Yuma Iwaza being hit by Leo Fornaroli. And that's over at Coppice. It's the Italian sending up the inside of the Japanese. And then that didn't come off very well, unfortunately. Fornaroli gets ahead, but that front wing damage will drop him down the order. And he'll be off into the pit lane at the end of the lap. There's a replay of the onboard of Fornaroli making contact. In all honesty, I think the front wing damage serves him justice for going for an audacious manoeuvre, but now he's got to be careful with cars just scattering around him. And there goes Fornaroli down the order. No further action is going to be taken involving him and Iwaza, but he's holding up the other promoter of Gabriele Mini, Formula 2 Championship leader at the time of recording. Down the line. 1.5 seconds clear over Colton Hearn, so Rio Hirakawa still in third place. Nearly 3 seconds clear over the Prema of Yiyafi. It's Albaba and Roman Grosjean. It's Fornaroli coming into the pit lane at the end of lap 2. He'll join Philip Salaquada at the back. No retirement so far, which is good to see. We did go quite a distance without too many retirements actually before we saw a considerable number drop out before the end. See the top 3 bridging away from the rest. Scott McLaughlin, who's now ahead of Danica Fiat, into 10th place. Fiat down to 12th behind reigning Grand Prix World Series champion Felix Rosenqvist. We are coming to the halfway point in the season, and we've got our first retirement of the race. It's Steph Dusseldorp, who has pulled out at the chicane of the S's, and it's game over for him there. So another retirement for Chris Hosey's team. It's unlikely they'll come away with any points. Scored in the last 2 rounds of such speed. It's going to be a long season for them, really. There is the mid-season test coming up after this one at the same track, where the reserve and test drivers from each of the 26 teams competing will get a chance to showcase their skills. We'll see a number of driver changes for the next round of the championship, will be at Hockenheim in 2 weeks' time, or 3 weeks' time after this one. It's usually when we have the mid-season test. We usually have a 3-week break is what we have had in previous seasons. There goes Patrick Award on the inside of Roman Grosjean at Melbourne Hairpin. Nijiri got by Grosjean at the S's. Now Award at St. Grosjean further down the order. I wonder if Grosjean may be on the one stop, because if he's heavy on fuel, that could well explain his pace. So far this campaign, we've been to Road America, we've been to Aruba, Curitiba, Trono de los Funes, Sebring, Dijon Begoin, Ricardo Tormo, Marrakesh, and today round 9 at Donington. We go to Hockenheim. Just before I continue with that, a retirement for Danica Fiat in the Opel on lap number 5. And that won't please Topher Smith one bit. It's a gearbox failure that's sidelined the former Red Bull and Toro Rosso stroke AlphaTauri driver. That's Kikushinin Ota with front wing damage to his Simter. We don't know where he's picked that up. He's the latest to make his way into the pit lane with damage. After Hockenheim, we go to Amstorp. It's off to the Grand Prix of Europe, which will be held in Mugello. That's the last European round of the season before we head to Vietnam at Hanoi which will host its first ever round in the Grand Prix Series. We then go to Sepang, Malaysia, Buriram, Thailand, and then it's off to Motegi in Japan for the Grand Prix of Asia. And then we finish off with a double bill in the Oceania continent at Phillip Island, Australia, and Manawatu, New Zealand. Once all 18 championship rounds have been concluded, we then go to Macau for the non-championship round there, involving the 13 highest scoring teams across the two leagues. And then we see Grosjean, who's lost another position at the expense of Joel Eriksson. He's on the inside of the S's, and he's got him back. Let's have a rundown on the setups then for each of the teams. Now the teams have gone for the neutral setup. They are 40, Sax Speed, Mazda, Chip Ganassi, Prema, Opel, and Remota. The ones going for the mid-downforce setup, they are IM Dames, Simtech, Spiker, and M-Sport. Toyota are the only team going for the mid-top speed setup, and finally Ram are the only team going for the maximum top speed setup. And there we see Dorian Pan slowing in the IM Dames. There's another race to forget for her after a brilliant start to the season, it has to be said. But I think it's all falling apart really for Jake Senson's team. And Pan is the third driver to retire from the League 2 Donington Park Grand Prix, and she nearly collided actually with her teammate Jamie Chadwick. But it's down the Pan for this race for Dorian. Seems to be... oh, that's Najiri out as well in the Prema. That's a huge one in the race for promotion. Tomoki Najiri retires from the race, and that's going to displease team manager Alex Johnston for sure. He was running in the top 6 before he pulled out, and that's a premature end to his race here in Britain. And that's the Opel up in smoke. That's Joel Eriksson. It's another double retirement for the team. What must they do to catch a break? It's their 5th double retirement of the season. And that's Kikunishin Ota also gone from this race. They're dropping like flies at the moment. Ota's 2nd race in the Grand Prix Series season pull out with engine melodies. There is Eriksson pulling off in the same spot as where Kafia retired not too long ago. So we've lost both of the Opels of Eriksson and Kafia. We've lost Kikunishin Ota, we've lost Tomoki Najiri, and we've also lost Dorian Pan, Steph Dusseldorf. I think that's that. I've counted 6 retirements. And that we'll have a whole lot more before this race is over. And it takes me back to the Plaza last season, where we had a plethora of retirements at the beginning of the race. It was extraordinary. We're only on lap number 9 of this race, and De Vries's lead is now 2.7 seconds over Colton Herter. De Vries could do with a win after being on pole in the last 2 rounds before this one. He's won already this season at Curitiba, picking up Toyota's first win. He needs to remain in the fight for the championship. He needs a strong show here after a missed opportunity really at Marrakesh, considering that his teammate Ryo Hirakawa had retired. Now, Hirakawa is still leading the championship by 9 points over Yiufi. Shaping things up for another titanic scrap for the championship in League 2. And there we see Philip Salaquada being overtaken by Leo Fornaroli. And there we see the list of retirements. Ericsson, Ota, Najiri, Pan, Kafia and Dusseldorf. Ferrari passes Selequada for 19th position. You never know later on in the race, if we get more retirements and they're still going, they could well scrape a point out of it, which I think is something that M-Sport and Zack Speed have had little to achieve this season. Was down the order, is now in 8th position behind Scott McLaughlin. On him later on, he will be doing the one stop compared to most of the others. There's also the upgrade window opening after this round, both League 1 and League 2. Top 3 teams in League 2 at the end of the season will be promoted to League 1 for Season 7, and in contrast the bottom 3 teams in League 1 will go down to League 2. At the moment Toyota are sitting at the top of the championship by 7 points over Spiker, 149 playing 142, and there's a bit of a gap to Ram in 3rd place on 100. In 4th place on 96. We've only got 1 car left in the race, and that's Yeofi in 4th position. Ram have got Pato Award in 6th place and Igor Fraga running in 12th, just outside the points. It's unlikely that any of the others are going to be fighting for promotion. And you've got 40 who have had a good last couple of races. They're in 5th place on 71 points, and you've got Sintek who really been consistent enough this season. Remotes have not had anything go right for them really since they won the opening round at Road America. Really safe to say that Opel, Iron Danes, Master, Chip Ganassi, Saxby Williams and M-Sport have all been ruled out. In my opinion at the moment, it's a 4-way fight for promotion. There's still a number of rounds to go. 10 to be exact, including this one. Hirakawa competing his 42nd Grand Prix Series race, running in 3rd position, chasing his first Grand Prix Series title of any sort. You had won for Carlin a couple of seasons ago at the Nürburgring. You had won twice for Minardi last season at Jerez and in Kyalami. Won 2 races this season, back to back. In D-Shop Line and in Ricardo Tormo. His level 1 wins with Victor Fries and Callum Ilott. To take victory today, Rio Hirakawa or even go level with Sebastian Buemi, Jean-Eric Verne and Shane van Gisbergen, who will join 4th on the all-time list. Toyota and Spiker, neither of them are in a position where they can break into the top 10 in terms of the all-time list for number of wins by a single team. Toyota had 3 wins, likewise for Spiker. And to get into the top 10 they would need to essentially get at least 8 wins. Toyota, so far this season, picked up what is now their 5th pole in the Grand Prix Series. One behind 10th place Life, we've got 6. Now De Vries's 3rd consecutive pole will put him joint third on the all-time list with Ruto Miata, Felix Rosenquist and Jamie Chadwick. In fact, actually, he's already second on the all-time list with 4 in a row that he had picked up when he was at Minardi 3 seasons back. McLaughlin has got Roman Grosjean behind, and McLaughlin has pulled out of the race with mechanical gremlins. And it's a puncher that's forced him out. And what a shame as well for team manager David Young, who had hoped for a lot more here. Scott McLaughlin's terrible season continues to go from bad to worse. Rio Hirakawa running in third place. Now, if the race was to finish now, De Vries will be, as it stands with the pole position at fast start points as well as the win, will close down the margin by 12 points. It was 19 off Hirakawa, so 7 off him. Hertha will make the crown off Hirakawa by a few points. 14 off him coming to this. As it stands, Rio Hirakawa will still be leading the championship. So De Vries will go into second position. Rio Hirakawa will move on to 99 points. De Vries would move on to 92. That's it. We'll move on to 88. As Jamie Chadwick locks up at the S's. That might give an opportunity for Leo Fornameroni to head on through here. He's on slightly better tyres actually, this Fornameroni, so that might give him an advantage. And it seems to have helped him go on by. So it's those who pitted earlier on in the race. So the transition. It's around, which is good to see. Who's running in 4th place, came into this one second in the championship, but with the positions as they are, if the race was to finish now, he would drop down 2 positions in the standings. He would drop to 4th. De Vries running in the lead. And we've got our first scheduled pit stop of the race, and it's over at Toyota. Rio Hirakawa has made his way in from 3rd position. Comes in at the same time. Now it's crucial for Hirakawa that he gets out in some clean air here. Might just have got out in front of Rosenquist. Has got out, so you probably need about 20 seconds for a pit stop, which is one of the lowest or quickest amount of time in the pit lane for a pit stop down here, which I think is going to suit the 2 stoppers more. Third place now. He's picked up 1 race win in his non-course series career. That came at Campo Grande last season when he was at Lancia. Rio Hirakawa's got on with the job by passing through the block on the fresher tyres. And there goes Peter Ward on Nick Cassidy. If Hirakawa can go at the pace he's doing, he might be able to get an undercut completed on De Vries. De Vries will be on better tyres compared to his rival for the title. Philip Salaquada comes in for his second stop. It's his first scheduled one. Award trying to get through on his teammate Igor Fraga, but Brazilian's not doing him many favours, and that's going to cause a bit of a worry to team manager Ross McGregor. And Award does at last find a way through on Fraga, but he has lost time being held up by him. Hertz comes in from second place. Hirakawa's passed Grosjean on the circuit. Has Hirakawa done enough to get into second place ahead of Hertz? Yiffy is in at the same time, which will allow Earl Bamber to go through into second place for now. And Hirakawa's got Hertz. Hirakawa has completed the undercut on the spiker, and he's through into effectively second position. Now it's going to be down to De Vries. At the moment, Hirakawa is projected to get ahead of De Vries if the Dutch was to pick now. Through Coppice he comes. There is O'Ward having it out with Joseph Newgarden. This is for position after all, so there's no blue flags. So Newgarden can hold him off if he wants to. But O'Ward, I think, is going to have the upper hand this time on the Chip Ganassi. He does so. O'Ward makes his way through into 10th position. O'Ward on a run of 5 consecutive points finishes coming into this. Not as good of a run as Yiffy's though. Yiffy has stalled points in every single race so far this season, finishing inside the top 10 every single time. Earl Bamber in the pit lane for Chip Ganassi. So Hirakawa will go back into second position. What's aiding the amount of time lost in the pit lane is that the drivers feed into the pit lane before the last hairpin of the lap. We've got Fiona McLaughlin and Nick Cassidy also in. There is Hirakawa in second place, Hertz in third. Hertz is on slightly better rubber compared to the Toyota though. The Newgarden's out of the race, and oh, he's lost a wheel as well. What's happened there? The left rear has come off the car of Joseph Newgarden, and I wonder if he's been hit from behind by someone. That is a very bizarre incident. Newgarden retires from the race either way. It has to be from someone that came out of the pit lane. Couldn't quite get a replay on that. We only caught the aftermath of it. But I would most probably say it was one of those that came out of the pit lane. Now Fiona McLaughlin came in, as did Nick Cassidy, so I wonder if there's been a coming together involving either of them with Newgarden. We'll have a look after. No further action I don't think is going to be taken anyway. There is Fiona McLaughlin on the inside of Jamie Chadwick at Melbourne Hairpin. That's a pass done. Sean Lacey is the latest to come in. Gabriel Mini likewise. And now you can see Hertz on the back of Rio Hirakawa. And further back there is O'Ward being passed by Earl Bamber, who's just pitted. And the New Zealander is through to 8th place, chasing after Antonio Giovinazzi, who I don't think has made a pit stop in this race. Hertz has passed Hirakawa. Hertz has passed Hirakawa for second position. De Vries comes in for his first stop. And Hertz is in line to take the lead here. I would say De Vries will get out in third position ahead of Grosjean. Really have to. So we really do have a race on our hands. As Giovinazzi does finally come in at the end of lap 21. Bamber, 7 behind Felix Rosenquist. And And there's De Vries, who's now back on the circuit in third position, being undercut by Herta and Hirakawa. But the Dutchman will be on better tyres. Might be able to go for a fastest lap on the next tour. Bamber has overtaken Rosenqvist for P6. There's Rosenqvist. Having it out with O'Ward at the moment. Being passed by Bamber. O'Ward is going through. The Swede. Hirakawa down in second place behind Herta. He's going to finish his second Grand Prix Series win. There's Chadwick being passed by Nick Cassidy. Leo Fornerone is the next driver to line up for a pass. Straight. Comes the spiker. Oh, Herta's on top. He goes over the curb and he spins. Herta spins at the S's. And that hands the lead to Ryo Hirakawa. What a costly error by the American. He gets back on safely. Totally thrown it away there, and that hands the advantage back to De Vries as well, because De Vries had only just pitted. So Ryo Hirakawa leads the lead to Donington Park Grand Prix on lap 23. And as we see Nick Cassidy go through on Igimo Iwasa at Coppice. Hirakawa 2.3 seconds ahead of De Vries. As we see Charles and Lacey go through on Jamie Chadwick. That will be Melvin Hairpin again. And Chadwick has yet to stop in this race. Grosjean has yet to stop in this one. That's if he goes past Grosjean now. So that's the difference between being on a 2-stop and being on the 1. So all the cars from the top 2 teams are still in this race. There it lies. One race this season where all 4 cars from the top 2 teams have finished a race this season. The same race, and that was in round 2 at Aruba. There's Gabriele Mini passing Igimo Iwasa for 15th position. And that's an engine blow up for Ryo Hirakawa from the lead! The championship leader is out! Not good news for Michael Espy. It's a torrid time in the championship for Hirakawa at the moment. Malaysia has also retired in the M Sport. In so far what's been a pointless season for the Frenchman. Hirakawa retires from the lead. And how will Michael Espy decide on the next upgrade window? Because surely reliability is starting to be an issue for his team. Over the line comes Hirakawa. He's already passed pit entry and he's out of the race on lap 26. Not even getting to half race distance. We are down to 16 runners already. There's a battle actually between Grosjean and Bamber now. It's a three-way battle further down the field involving Fraga, McLaughlin and Giovinazzi. There they are, look, through the old hairpin. Hertz running in second place. Bamber has passed Grosjean for fourth. Expect Grosjean to be in the pit lane sooner rather than later. There goes McLaughlin on the inside of Igor Fraga for eighth. In second position, 3 seconds off the lead after that spin. You never know what could happen in this one. Your feet. And Grosjean retires in the spiker. So only one car each from the top two teams left in this race. Grosjean is the latest to go. The race winner in Marrakesh goes no further. That promotes Pato Award up into fifth place. Racing Chris now sixth. That's Fia McLaughlin, Igor Fraga, Antonio Giovinazzi and Nick Cassidy in the top 10. Through Redgate. Jason Prema's first win of the season, and it's game over as well for Fia McLaughlin. That's both of the Simtex out. Rear suspension failure for the Irishman. And Yif is slowing as well. The Prema is gone. Neither of the Premas are going to make it to the checkered flag here at Donington. It's going to end up being one of those races, isn't it? Gearbox failure for the Chinese. So we're just down now to 13 runners. And we're only at half race distance, or just coming towards. And there's a move from the 40 of Antonio Giovinazzi on Igor Fraga. He's up into 6th place, so 40. In the form they are in, they could all of a sudden get into this fight for promotion. We'll never know whether Grosjean's attempt for the one-stop was going to work. It probably wasn't going to work, in all honesty. The amount of time you lose in the pit lane here is very, very minimal. There's a great chance for those who haven't scored very much this season to get some points. Old Bamber in particular, actually, who's had little to celebrate. 17 points on the board. He didn't score last time out, but before it then, he was on a run of 3 consecutive points finishes. Chip Ganassi last season did not pick up a podium in their maiden campaign, but they've got a chance to pick up their first ever. First ever Grand Prix World Series podium in the management of Kieran McGinley. There we look. The Kiwi on his own at the moment. El Bamba. Fargo is hoping to end his run of 5 consecutive non-finishes. Speed have got Philip Salaquada running in P11. Remember, he pitted at the end of lap 1 for repairs. Leaning in front of Rowley, you can see in your picture, he pitted at the end of lap 2 for repairs. He's got the promoter of Wazza, so Gabriel Mini attacking him for 9th position. We've got Felix Rosenquist, so I don't think it has actually stopped yet in this race. Is coming from 5th place. Igor Fargo comes in at the same time. Oh, that's an engine pump for De Vries for the lead! The second Toyota is gone here at Donington! Mike Gillespie is not going to celebrate a home win! It's a maximum of 2 points that they're going to come away with here at Donington. And it's a golden opportunity for Spiker to reap the benefits. Nick De Vries retires from the lead to Donington Park Grand Prix on lap 31. If Hertz can keep going to the end, he'll be the new championship leader. He's the only one left now from the top 2 teams. Yearfeet is already gone from this race. Grosjean is gone. Pato Ward, who's running in 4th place. If anything happens to Hertha, O'Ward could end up leading the championship as well. Yearfeet's non-finish is his first of the season. That brings a run of 8 consecutive finishes in the points to an end. And then there were 12. Jamie Chadwick came into the pits as well for her one and only scheduled stop of the race. I think that was her only stop of the race actually, so she didn't actually come in for... She didn't come in for repairs earlier on. I think the fact she's on fresher tyres now, she might be able to unlap herself from Colton Herta. Albamba up to 2nd place for Chip Ganassi. The team who came into this 11th in the standings on 22 points. We're about to get a good haul if they can get their driver to the end. There goes the Yuma Iwaza on Philip Salaquada, 4th position. It won't be too long before Igor Fargo goes through as well. Albamba is 15 seconds off the lead, but if he just gets his car to the end, you never know what can happen to Hertha in front. Iwaza comes in. What should be his final stop of the race, and there is Jamie Chadwick unlapping herself from Colton Herta. Chadwick has not scored since the opening round of the season, where she finished in 4th position. There goes Rosenquist past Fauna Rowley, and Rosenquist has only just pitted as well. Here is Bamber. This race has been one to remember so far. Goodness knows what the League One race could end up producing. So Ward in P3. Both runs still going in this one. got a chance to even close in on second place Spiker, or even Toyota actually, because Toyota are about to score very little. It's a golden opportunity for Ram to take advantage. Thanks Gabriel Mini on the tail of Leo Fornaroli from P7. Now M Sport have only picked up 6 points so far this season. Do. Can they get to the end? Look at what will be their third points finish of the season. Award in P3. There goes Rosenquist on Cassidy. That's for 5th place. The one-stopper making the most of these fresh rubber. Bamber's still going in P2. He's picked up 17 points so far this season. He's about to more than double his tally for the campaign. With that, he would end up going into the top 10 in the Drivers' Championship. First time this season. 12 runners remain in this lead to Donington Park Grand Prix. Lost Hirakawa from the lead, we lost to Prix from the lead. And we've got Fornaroli in the pit lane for his final stop. Get out in front of Philip Salaquada. And Bamber slows in the Chiganassi. What torrid lap for Kieran McGinley! His best chance of a strong result down the drain. And Chadwick is having to come into the pit lane for repairs. But even worse, Bamber is gone. Hertzer comes in for his final stop as well. Through into second place goes Pato Awards, and it's Antonio Giovinazzi up to 3rd for 40. Chadwick did get out ahead of Hertzer on the track, because Hertzer came in for his stop on the, well, around at the same time, although Hertzer is technically a lap ahead when he came in compared to Chadwick. Hertzer's stop has kept him in the lead ahead of O'Ward. Bamber would have gone into the lead had he not pulled out. Hertzer just needs to bring the car home. 21 laps. Get to the end now. O'Ward running in second place, but I think he's due in the pits for his last stop. I think once O'Ward and Giovinazzi come in for their last stops, that's going to promote Felix Rosenquist up to second place. But no doubt to my mind that O'Ward and Giovinazzi are going to be on pressure tyres, and here they come. O'Ward is in. What about Giovinazzi? Is he coming in as well? No, he's staying out for at least one more lap. Will drop to 4th behind Rosenquist. And there is Rosenquist. This has been a race to remember again for Dave Goddard. I don't think you could have imagined it. Now, the highest number of points 40 have scored in a single season Grand Prix Series has been 75, which they achieved both in seasons 4 and 5. Coming into this, they had 71. They're about to eclipse that total. Now he's Giovinazzi, who's ahead of Rosenquist. I wonder if Giovinazzi will come in at the end of this lap. He is in at the end of this lap. Stayed out 1 lap longer than O'Ward, which will give him a tyre advantage for the final stint. And there we see the Bimotor going through on the Saxby. That's Iwaza on Salaquada, and Iwaza is through into 9th. Mini is in the pit lane. Giovinazzi gets out in 6th place behind Igor Fraga. Salaquada is in for his last stop. Which will promote Jamie Chadwick up into the final points position. Salaquada comes out in last place. He's just 1 place off a scoring position. You never know in this last third of the race. Rosenquist is second at the moment on the 1 stop, but O'Ward will be getting the gap down. There he is, look. The gap over the line is 4.5 seconds, just under. Nick Cassidy comes into the pit lane for Mazda, which releases Fraga, who is another one of those on the 1 stop. Giovinazzi is less than 1.2 behind him. So inevitably he'll pass Fraga. In sector 1, the gap is 4 seconds between Rosenquist and O'Ward. In sector 2 is less than 3.6. Look at Fraga and Giovinazzi. Giovinazzi does not go through this time around. Going through the S's. This crowd treated to a brilliant event here at Donington. We've still got the League 1 race to come as well. The gap between Rosenquist and O'Ward coming down to 3 seconds. O'Ward was able to take around about 1.5 seconds out of Rosenquist's margin on that lap. And we look at Giovinazzi running in P5 still behind Fraga. Fraga is doing his teammate a favour by holding the Italian up. Got 40, leading Ram, leading 40. Positions 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th. Giovinazzi locks up at Coppice, but he's got by Fraga at last. He's got a hope. Well, I say he's got a hope. He's got Fraga coming back through. And I think Ram's running more straight line speed compared to the 40. Now just remind you, Ram are running the maximum top speed setup, whereas 40 are running the neutral setup. So it's going to be a huge difference in straight line speed between the Ram and the 40. So Rosenquist may not be attacked just yet, since he is gaining time through the corners. But the Ram is quicker in a straight line considerably. Again, Giovinazzi in 5th place. 40 had 1 podium finish already this season. Okay, round for the championship at Controller does. Funes, there goes Giovinazzi again on Fraga. Now, can he pull away from the Ram this time? I think he's done so on this occasion. Giovinazzi through into 4th place ahead of the Brazilian. And there we see Leo Fornaronia further back. Could more than double Eversport's points tally for the campaign. Hertz was a bit in with a problem. He'd still come out well in front of Rosenquist and O'Ward. Gap between the pair, less than half a second. Right on the ball with Rosenquist through Redgate. There is O'Ward looking to the outside through the crane of curves. It won't work through there, I'm afraid, Patso. Giovinazzi in 4th place. 15 seconds back as we see O'Ward goes to the inside on Rosenquist at Coppice, and through goes the Mexican Pato O'Ward into 2nd position. He won't be able to do anything about Hertha, but 2nd place will do for him for sure. And there is Felroli on the attack with Fraga. Fraga isn't as quick in terms of the tyres, but he has got the straight line speed advantage compared to the M Sport. I really want to get on with this because otherwise Nick Cassidy's going to close in. O'Ward is over half a minute off the lead. 14 laps to go. The 2nd place will still be a strong result. His quest for the championship. As it stands, it's Colton Hertha who leap from 5th into the lead. He'll move on to 95 points. Pato O'Ward, by finishing 2nd, will move up into 2nd place in the Drivers' Championship. He will be on 89. 6 points, the gap will be at the top. Rosenquist is running in 3rd place. Leapfrog ahead of De Vries into 6th position. Now it's Pato O'Ward. Again, as it stands with, as far as the team's championship is concerned, Ram will pull further away from Kremer. Right now, 40 we're on course to get a 3rd and a 4th. They'll in fact leapfrog ahead of Kremer. There'll be a couple of points clear off them in 4th. But Ram are about to get a good haul of points with O'Ward in 2nd place and Fraga in 5th. Give them 28 championship points. 30 clear over 4th place. 40, well I say that, Fornaronia has just passed Fraga for 5th place at last. So another couple of points dropped for Ram. And Cassidy's now going to be attacking Fraga as well. One stop is not the way to go around this track, unfortunately. Jamie Chadwick has just been lapped by Hertha now. So it's 2 drivers lapped by the leader. Driver for Hertha to lap is Iyumo Waza, who's running in 9th position. The promoter haven't scored in the last 3 rounds, but they've got both their cars in the points. They'll close in on Simtech. Pulled out for a moment there. Now up the inside of Fraga into the S's. And Cassie's through past the Ram. That's another position gained. And 2 more points lost for Ram. Nothing that's remaining. Another brilliant win for Spike. It'll be back-to-back wins for them. Something they've never achieved before. This is their 9th Grand Prix Series race. Seems to make it to the end. The leading standings by 16 points over second place Toyota. Spiker will be on 167, 151. They can increase it. Hurts come in and go for a fastest lap. Of course, if he was to achieve that, it's 1 point gained for Spiker and it's 1 point loss for Toyota, so it would be a 2-point swing. So he's not too far away from victory. He's second in the Grand Prix Series if he can just bring it home. Ward coming in second position as we speak. He's been on the podium 8 times in his career. Rosenquist won the League 1 title last season. He's finished on the podium 13 times. This one today will be second of the season for them. Rosenquist has got a fast charging Giovinazzi closing him down. And between both of them it's just over 3 seconds. 9 laps remaining. Mini is now attacking Fraga for position. On they come. Fraga is still ahead of the Italian. That back, and there's also a fight between Fornaroli and Cassidy for 5th position. Cassidy has been quick. Again, racing was one of the 2 battles of which I've just mentioned. Look at Fornaroli and Cassidy. Cassidy can get a run out of the S's, he'll get the move done on him. No, we've cut away from that. Now we're going back to it. Cassidy through on Fornaroli. And Hertz slows! 8 laps from the end! The Spiker is gone! Colin Hertz retires from the League 2 Donington Park Grand Prix. And that changes the situation in the championship. It's blown the championship wide open. It's no points for Spiker. And that hands the lead to Topher Ward. Cassidy overtook Fornaroli whilst we cut away to Hertha. So Cassidy's up into 4th place now. Fornaroli will be back into 5th. Gabriele Mini has passed Igor Fraga for position. So all the drivers left in the race are now in the points. 240s running in 2nd and 3rd. Rosenquist ahead of Giovinazzi. O'Ward keeps going. He'll be the new championship leader. If he ends up running into trouble, 40 could be on course for a 1-2. A 1-2. Now 6 laps away. The second win of the season. One in Prix. A few rounds ago. A race to forget really in Marrakesh, but still brought that car home in a point scoring position. Jamie Chadwick is on course for her first points since Road America, and Philip Salaquada to pick up his third points finish of the season. A much needed point for Zach Speed. As it stands, they'll be level on points with M Sport, but M Sport will be ahead on countback. There's Chadwick running in 9th position. 4.5 seconds clear over Salaquada. At the moment, with Mini in 6th place and Iwasa in 8th. 12 championship points. They'll move in front of Simsek, and out goes Salaquada. Salaquada retires from 10th position. But I think he's completed enough laps to keep hold of that 10th position and that final championship point. Now, O'Ward is on lap 53. Salaquada retired on lap 52. So 6 laps from the end of the 57 lap race. Salaquada will keep hold of the last point, whatever happens. Giovinazzi running in 3rd place, still behind Rosenquist. Pair hoping that something happens to O'Ward. Oh, and that's a loose wheel for Giovinazzi. This is not good news for Dave Goddard. Now, if Giovinazzi can get that car back to the pit lane, he might just stay in this race. 5 laps from the end as well. Does he go back to the pit lane? Just in time. At least he'll come out with some fresh rubber, but that podium for Giovinazzi's gone. Let's go lightning quick as well. You can drop it as far as P7. Oh, he's collided as well with... Is that Fraga he's collided? He's collided with the Ram. I was alluding to earlier what happened to Newgarden. And I think we've just seen a repeat of it here involving Giovinazzi and Fraga. Oh, that's the problem with the pit exit. I can't blame either driver. That's the problem with the pit exit. Have a look from Fraga's point of view. Yeah, you can't blame either driver really on that. You can't blame either driver. There could be a circuit design for Grand Prix 2 to have a think about. No further action is going to be taken. I think that's the correct choice. But that's cost Giovinazzi time as well. He's going to go lightning quick, isn't he? On this fresh rubber. He'll pass Mini, no problem. think he'll have time to pass Fornaroli and Cassidy, so he might still get back into a podium position. Will Antonio Giovinazzi. Rosenqvist 10 seconds off the lead of Pato O'Ward, who begins his 55th lap out of 57. 3 to go for him. There is Giovinazzi on the tail of Mini. Goddard. In case you're wondering, no, it's not named on Dave Goddard. Felix Rosenqvist is on course for a second place finish, which will make the team's second podium of the campaign. They may even get another one if Giovinazzi can just find a way past the promoter, but he is losing time. 40 are running the neutral setup. The motor are running neutral as well. Giovinazzi passes the motor into 5th place. O'Ward begins his penultimate lap. This will be win number 4 of his career. Cassidy is on course for a podium at the moment for Mazda, which will be their first in the Grand Prix World Series. Giovinazzi is 3 seconds off Leo Fornaroli for 4th position. Don't think he's going to have enough time. The gap is down to 2.5 seconds. He might get him on the last lap, but he won't catch Cassidy. Is about to start his final lap of the race in this thrilling encounter at Donington Park. Felix Rosenqvist on course for a 2nd place finish for 40. In what's been an impressive season for them. Line is Giovinazzi alongside Fornaroli into turn 1. He's straight past Fornaroli. He's passed him. Is he going to have enough to catch Nick Cassidy for the final podium spot? But there we see Pato O'Ward, who's reaped the benefits from those of the likes of Toyota and Spiker who have failed here today. Ram have kept going, and it's a big boost in their quest for promotion, but for now it's going to be a 2nd win of the season for Pato O'Ward, the 4th of his career, and Ram keep themselves on track. Out of the last corner of Goddard, Pato O'Ward wins the League 2 Donington Park Grand Prix to move him into the championship lead with that result. Felix Rosenqvist finishes in 2nd place for 40 after another sensational drive, and Giovinazzi's passed Cassidy. Antonio Giovinazzi has passed Nick Cassidy on the last lap at Melbourne Hairpin. Mazda's first podium will have to wait a few more weeks. Antonio Giovinazzi gets himself back to the podium places. It's a double podium for 40, a first for them. Dave Goddard has had a day to remember. Nick Cassidy 4th for Mazda. Leo Fornaroli gets Mazda's M Sport's best ever result in the Grand Prix Series by finishing in 5th place. They are now off the bottom of the team's championship. Gabriel Imani 6th, Igor Fraga 7th, Ayuma Iwasa 8th, and Jamie Chadwick, the last driver to finish in 9th place. A couple of points for her and for Iron Dames. It's a win for Pato O'Ward at Donington Park. What a race to remember for the neutral. He wins ahead of Felix Rosenqvist, who comes home in second place, and Tini Giovinazzi makes it 240s on the podium. Nick Cassidy 4th, Leo Fornaroli makes it to 5th for M Sport, Gabriele Mini 6th, Igor Fraga 7th, ahead of Yuma Wazza and Jamie Chadwick, who was the last driver to take the checkered flag. Felix Salaquada did not finish, but was classified in 10th place, so he does pick up that point. Then we turn to those that didn't get to the end of the race. Colton Herter retiring from the lead, El Bamba also out, Nick de Vries retiring from the lead as well, Yia Feet, Thea McLaughlin, Roman Grosjean, Ria Hirakawa, who also lost from the lead, Charles Malaysi, Joseph Newgarden crashed out, Scott McLaughlin, Joel Eriksson, Kikunishin Ota, Tomoki Nijiri, Dorian Pan, Danny Kafia and Steph Dusseltorp. Those were the drivers that did not finish. The pole position and fast start points go to Nick de Vries. But that is all Toyota came away with today. Another sensational outing for League 2 at Donington. And if the League 1 race has anything to offer on the back of that, I think it's safe to say I wouldn't mind the Grand Prix Series coming back to Donington again. Pato Award's win moves him into the championship lead. With that win, it's his second of the season, but what a day to remember for Dave Goddard and for his 40 team. 2 podium finishes in the same race. That has never achieved before by them, and that has given them, actually, a realistic chance for promotion. They are now ahead of Prema into 4th place, and they're not too far off Ram. Could we see a fairy tale story for 40 and for Dave Goddard, for them to get back to League 1 for the first time since Season 3? It's time to run down on the League 2 Drivers and Teams Championships in the voice of Topher Smith, and we'll be back for the League 1 race very, very shortly.
Well, what an eventful race that was here in the League 2 event of Donington Park, and Pato Award comes away with his second win of the season and a double podium for the 40 quarter team. That is one of Dave Goddard's best days in the championship, and that's going to put them up there as far as the points are concerned. Speaking of the points, let's take a quick look, starting off with the drivers. Pato Award's victory has put him into the lead. He is now 12 points ahead of Rio Hirakawa on 96 points, nearly breaking the 100 mark. He should do at the next race, I imagine. EFA down to 3rd on 75, 1 ahead of Felix Rosenqvist, who has jumped up to 4th after his podium today. 74 points for the reigning champion, 2 ahead of Roman Grosjean in the Spiker, and then Colton Herter in the other Spiker, a further 2 behind his teammates. Nick de Vries 7th on 67 ahead of Gabriele Mini on 51, Luke Browning on 36, and Igor Fraga gets back into the top 10 on 35 points. Looking at the teams, Toyota has extended its lead over Spiker by just a couple of points, courtesy of the bonus points from Nick de Vries for pole and the fastest lap here today. Spiker still second, but the gap to Ram has really come down after Award's victory today. Ram now well and truly into that title fight on 131 points. 40 Quarters double podium has put them up into 4th on 104. I don't think they can be discounted just yet at this stage. Prema are 5th on 96, ahead of Bimota on 69, Simtek on 67, Opel on 49, Mazda on 35, Iron Dames on 29, Chip Ganassi on 22, and then M Sports getting some points today and overtaking Zaxby's to lift themselves off the bottom of the standings. M Sports and Zaxby's on 16 points each, but M Sports ahead on countback by virtue of better results. So with League 2 wrapped up, let's head on over to the League 1 event and remind ourselves of the drivers and team standings heading into today. And it's a Japanese 1-2, Yuki Tsunoda on 75, 2 ahead of his countryman Kamui Kobayashi on 73. Shane van Gisbergen looking to go back-to-back across League 2 and League 1, 3rd in the standings on 61, 3 ahead of Hansen Guben, who is consistently scoring points to keep himself up there. Carl Kirkwood and Scott Dixon on 52 points each, Jimmy Winkup and Raffaele Marcello on 48 points each, and then Alex Pillow on 41 and Philip Hansen rounding up the top 10 on 35. And in the teams, Von Mittal leading the way on 121, 23 points ahead of Minardi and a further 3 ahead of Ducati, and all Italian top 3 there. HRT 4th on 93 ahead of Arrows on 80, Lancia on 72, Force India on 71, Cooper Akiro 69, Onyx 48, and Prost, the last team not in the relegation zone at the moment, on 43. In that relegation zone as it stands is BAR, Jaguar and Carlin, but still plenty more opportunities for them to score points this season. Just like in League 2, we have no driver changes for the League 1 race, so let's get straight to the grid. And Alex Palou has put it onto pole position but takes a 5-place grid penalty for today, so he'll start from 6th. The Spaniard does still collect the bonus points for pole position though, but he will start 5 places back. That means his teammate Kyle Kirkwood will start from pole ahead of the Minardi duo of Will Power and Kamui Kobayashi. Shane van Gisbergen moves up to 4th ahead of Yuki Tsunoda, who will move up to 5th. 6th will then be Alex Palou ahead of Felipe Nasr, Nick Tandy, Phil Hansen and Brendan Hartley. 11th place will be Jamie Whincup, who's looking for a return to form, having won the first race of the season in Road America. Scott Dixon, a double champion, will start 12th, looking to move into the points from there. Ayhanjan Guven 13th ahead of Oliver Rowland. Then the 2 Force Indias of Robin Freins and Raffaele Marcello. Kevin Estre 17th alongside Alessio Rivera. And then the 2 Prosts of John-Eric Verne and Antonio Felix da Costa. And at the back, Mitch Evans, Maximilian Günther, Stoffel van Dorn, Theo Porcher, Kevin Magnussen and Sebastian Buemi. Well, we had an absolute thriller in League 2. Will we see more of the same in League 1? We certainly hope so. But maybe with a few more cars finishing in League 1, I hope. Let's see how it goes. Let's go back to Tom Cairns in the commentary box, waiting to get this one underway. So, Tom, back to you.
Kyle Kirkwood on pole as a result of Palou's penalty from last time at Marrakesh. Well, let's see what he can do off the line, and can he take back-to-back wins after his great showing at Marrakesh. Lights are on. Lights off, it's go at Donington. It's a good start from Kyle Kirkwood. What about the 2 Minardis of Power and Kobayashi? Not good starts from either of them. And there is Shane van Gisbergen through into 2nd place on the inside on the entry to Redgate Corner. And it's a torrid start for both of the Minardi drivers. Power down to 3rd place, Kobayashi down to 7th already. Power coming back on the inside there at that old hairpin on Van Gisbergen. And watch out for Alex Palou, who started the race from 6th position after his 5-place grid penalty for his dangerous driving at Marrakesh. He's made his way through the field up into 4th. And he's got a chance to have a go on Van Gisbergen at the end of starting straight. Can the Spaniard make the most of the opportunity? We shall see. There he is, look. On the inside for a moment, but Van Gisbergen was able to resist. Kirkwood leads, Power 2nd, it's Van Gisbergen, Palou, Nick Tandy in the 2nd Ducati is in 5th place. Then it's Yuki Tsunoda, Kamui Kobayashi, Felipe Nasr, Jamie Whincup and Scott Dixon, and off goes Oliver Rowland, who was running on the fringes of the top 10. I think he got punted out by one of the Arrows drivers, was it? Let's have a look. No, it was the Onyx. It was the Onyx of Phil Hansen that sent it up the inside and punted the Cooper Kiro off the road. So Hansen will be taking a penalty for that. Yeah, it was just really, really clumsy from the home hero. That sent Rowland to the back of the field, and Kevin Estre also has damage, so both of the Onyx drivers have really, really found trouble on the opening lap. It's a 5-place grid penalty for the next race for Hansen. In fact, Hansen has retired. What happened to Phil Hansen? Oh, he crashed on his way into the pit lane. What was going on there? He tried to get into the pit lane, and I think as he came across, he took out someone. Oh, was it the Lancia? I think it was the Lancia that collided with him. And that might have been Ayhanjan Guven. I don't think you can blame Guven for that, because Hansen was the one coming across on him. It was too dangerous for him to cut across the way he did. And so Hansen's race is over. Estre comes into the pit lane. The worst possible start for team manager Ryan Ferris. No further action is going to be taken on the incident involving Guven and Hansen, which I think is the right decision. Now, Alex Palou, who started the race from 6th, is from 4th place. There's a move from Yuki Tsunoda on Nick Tandy. And that's a great pass from the Japanese through into 5th place. And Da Costa retires in the Prost also. I think that's a mechanical issue. It is a mechanical issue. He stopped over at Coppice. It's a rear suspension failure for the Portuguese. looking at the setups that teams have gone for. The teams going for the mid-downforce setup, they are Arrows, Minardi and Lancia. Those going for neutral, they are Von Mattel, HRT, BAR, Force India, Frost, Carlin, Cooper Kiro and Jaguar. And those going for the mid-top speed setups. Of the mid-top speed setup, they are Ducati and Onyx. And we see Fines running in P12 for Force India. Had a rather okay season in some respects, considering how close it's been in League One this season. Ball with power in second place. Look at Marcello sending it on the Lancia. Iron Shinguven. Run of results brought to an end. Marrakesh was on a run of 6 consecutive points finishes before retiring. We've got Oliver Rowland back in 23rd position. And out go. Oh, Van Gisbergen's crashed! He's crashed at the old hairpin! Was it a mechanical issue or did he get hit by someone? Oh, he had a mechanical issue, that's why. Three non-finishes in a row for the Kiwi. The League 2 Drivers' Champion of last season is also out on lap number 4. Promotes Polo up to 3rd. After Will Power, Ryan Baldwin in Tandy is carrying all of Sam Hall's hopes. It gets worse for them because Kamiro Kobayashi has sent the break further down the order. It's Felipe Nasser who is next to go through, and Tandy is really beginning to struggle now. And that's a tap from Mitch Evans on Alessia Rivera. That was a push to pass. Or was it Andrew Govan? Sorry, it was Govan, which Evans had tapped. They'd gone through on Vern. That part, well no, Vern actually passed Govan, but Evans ran into Govan and passed him as a consequence. I would say that would be a push to pass overtake for Evans, so it would surprise me if he was given a penalty for it. Yeah, it's a 10-second time penalty and 2 penalty points on Edmonton's licence. Into this round, Evans don't think had any penalty points in his licence before that, so it's his first couple this season. Drivers out of the race. Van Gisbergen, Da Costa and Hansen. And it likely looks like a slow Force India on the Starkey straight. Will have been... who was that? Is that Marcello or is that Fries? Can't tell from that angle. I think it's Marcello that's slowing. It is Marcello. He's picked up some form of issue. No, he needs to be careful. He does not have a car to his left-hand side before going into the pit lane. Gets in safely. It's a brake issue for the Swiss-Italian. Porsche running in 18th. The VAR has got Sebastian Buemi directly behind him. It's close to the pair of them coming together. low. And Sonoda and Kobayashi in the top 5. Those Frines being passed by Brendan Hartley, who makes it 2 Arrows drivers in the top 10 now. There's Gunther. That's the Carlin of Kevin Magnussen just in front. Jaguar took their best result of the season last time out, courtesy of Evans. It was enough to lift them off the bottom of the expensive Carlin, but they are still a long way away from safety. 31 points off 10th place Prost. We'll see Kobayashi and Nazar 5th and 6th. Back. We'll just see Magnussen, Gunther, 2 BARs. That's Bohemian going for it again on Porsche. Kobayashi now. He's been passed by Tandy. Japanese down the order. Snowden's the championship leader into this. 4th place right now. Van Gisbergen is not going to be scoring. Guvin is outside the top 10 as we speak. He's now behind his teammate Alessio Rivera. Kyle Kirkwood, who's running in the lead. You know, another victory will take him closer to the top for sure. Kobayashi there is Wincup, and there's Dixon and Hartley in 9th and 10th. Down the starting straight, and then we look at Kirkwood in the lead still. 2 seconds clear, and then we look at Rivera on Evans. There's the Italian through on the Australian. Taking the checkered flag in the last couple of rounds. As he goes from the podium, this is the end of the season at Road America. Hartley through on Dixon. Dixon now down to 10th position. He's got Robin Frines for company. Frines is going for it into Melbourne Hairpin, and Dixon loses 2 positions in the space of a few corners. Behind Dixon is Sean O'Vern. He's had a respectable race so far in the Prost. Seconds is the margin between Kirkwood and Power. Low in 3rd on his own. Sonoda, Nazar. So continues to pull away. I think there's a pit stop going on at the back of the field. It's Sebastian Boemi who's coming for BAR. I think this is a premature pit stop. Power will need to go on at the end of lap 9. Kirkwood with the fast lap of the race so far. It's 1 minute 15.4. Now, for your information, Alex Palou qualified on pole position. Because of doing so, he keeps that point. It's not Kirkwood who would have it, even though Kirkwood had started the race on pole. Kirkwood beginning his 11th lap. We're coming towards the first round of pit stops. Team's championship Formula leaders. 121 points. Minardi didn't score last time out. Second in the standings on 97. It's Ducati. Their cars out of the race so far. They've got 95. H-Trot's in with that win. Courtesy of Kirkwood in Morocco. Sit fourth on 93. With all the points could mathematically move them into the championship lead. But they need a lot to go for them. Kirkwood and then it's Power. Roland passes Magnussen for 17th position. Marcello and Astra Dyson for position. I think Astra might have just kept hold of the place for now. Is the margin between Kirkwood and the lead. Just think about what you need for a pit stop. We saw in the lead 2 race, you need around about 20 seconds for a pit stop. So if Kirkwood was to pit in now, he would rejoin ahead of her. Look at Astra and Marcello. 21st and 22nd. They are catching back at the queue. Van Dorn is. And we look at Power in P2. Now Will Power, who heads into this 15th in the standings. Run a barren form since he's got that second place finish in Curitiba. Pass from Marcello on Astra. Might be more power we were looking at rather than what's below, judging by the rear wing. I think it might be below the rear wings. When you look at the Minardi's rear wing, it does say Formatel on the back of it, I think. That's Brendan Hartley passing Jamie Wincott for 8th position. That's the Kiwi passing the Australian. Now we enter the 14th lap of this one. Kirkwood 3 seconds clear over Power. Just waiting for the first round of pit stops to get underway. See Power into 3 seconds clear of below. Both, in my opinion, have underperformed this season so far. Look at Fines now attacking Wincott for what is 9th position. Here is Fines behind Wincott. Topher being passed by Raffaele Marcello. He's coming back through the field now. He's coming forward repairs for that brake issue. Simplo in third place, 2.3 off the second place man. Of the second place man, Will Power. Goes Marcello. That's 16 of the race. Still to come in this, I would imagine. But the mid-season test to come after this race. There'll be a 2-week gap between Donington and Hockenheim. In case you're wondering whether we are going to the short layout or the old one, it's the old one we are going to. So it's one with the long straights, the chicanes. Whichever two does have that 10-second time penalty hanging over him. If we get a repeat of what happened in the League 2 race, that 10-second penalty may not be very costly. Our first scheduled pit stop of the race at Force India. Robin Frines comes in as his teammate Marcello gets a move done on Teo Porcher. So Rivera comes in for Lancia, as does Oliver Rowland. Just ahead of Sebastian Buemi. So Rivera just pitted directly behind these two. See below P3 as Power comes in from second place. He's Buemi. Rivera able to get a run just on him, but Estra and maybe even Stoff Van Dorn. There goes Estra on Van Dorn. There goes Rivera on Buemi. There's Rivera through on McCarlin. Tells you how powerful the undercut is right here. We saw in the League 2 race earlier. And we look at Frines behind Buemi. Going into the only car left behind the slot. We now have a HRT 1-2. Kirkwood ahead of Palou. Looking at whereabouts Power got out after his pit stop. He was running in P7 and it's caught traffic actually. If I was HRT, I would consider bringing Kirkwood in, but then what below in on this lap. Very surely needs to get moved on Hartley soon. Tandy comes in for Ciccatti. Power does finally overtake Hartley for P4. Driver who's chasing. His pit stop has left him in P7. now, Power would go into the lead. There goes Sonoda. He's on Dixon. Coppis. That's below passing Wincup at the end of Starkeys. And Kirkwood is in from the lead. Power has overtaken Kobayashi at Melbourne Hairpin. What about Felipe Nasser? Does he go into the lead or does he stay out there? I think he stayed out there. So Nasser stays out there and leads for now. As we look at Power, there is Kirkwood coming out. He's just going in front of Kobayashi, but Power is effectively in the race lead for when Nasser comes in for his first stop. But activity over at Jaguar. Max Gunter is next to come in. We've also got Jean-Luc Verne coming as well for Prost. I think it's having it out with Ayunjin Guven over the final point on track. We've seen Power. See Kirkwood is chasing him. Now Kirkwood does have a couple of laps fresher tyres underneath him. Vitally important for Power to make his way through on Nasser unless the Brazilian is due in for a pit stop on this lap or the next one. Good result last time at Marrakesh did the Kiwi. His points finish had moved him up in the standings, 13. Marcello comes in for his second stop of the race. Porsche likewise for BAR. It's Porsche's first stop of the race compared to Marcello's second. And Brendan Hartley's fifth place finish in Marrakesh moved him up to 13th in the standings. He's hoping to continue that form here. We've seen Nasser holding up Power and Kirkwood. This was the last thing Power wanted, really. Nasser dive for the pits at the end of the lap. The answer is yes. And that hands lead back to Power. But Kirkwood is looking feisty. Wincup. It's Madison being passed by Kevin Estra. And Kobayashi has now got Palou for company. So we've got a Minardi and a HRT fighting amongst each other, and the same for the other two drivers within those respective teams. Here's Kirkwood into the slipstream of Power, on the inside into the S's, and that is the American through on the Australian. Kyle Kirkwood leads the League 1 Donington Park Grand Prix on lap 22. I think that was coming all along though, considering he was on better tyres compared to the Minardi. Further back, there is Verne through on Frines at the S's. Verne having a decent race so far. Dixon passed by Tandy in the last corner. There's also Nasser going through on the Kiwi. Dixon not having the best time of it, but remember he is, I think he's on the one stop, you know, thinking of it. And Evans retires in the Jaguar. Time penalty proving to be irrelevant now. He is the fourth driver to retire from this race. An engine blow for willpower. More misfortune mounts on the Australian. Big problems again for team manager Giacomo Pagliaro. Power goes no further in this race. It's a bad dent to Minardi's hopes in the team's championship as well. Palou goes through. Sonoda goes through as well. Power pulls off the circuit. He's the 5th driver to retire from this race. It's now a HRT 1 and 2. Kirkwood ahead of Palou. There we see Tandy and Nazar. We've got Kobayashi ahead of them. To head on through. I think we're going to see a change of position here involving Tandy and Kobayashi. I don't think Kobayashi has stopped yet in this race. I might be wrong with that. But Tandy has passed Kobayashi rather easily. Go through. Look at Kirkwood. Hello. Another 8.5 seconds back. And that is a blow up for Scott Dixon in the Arrows. His chances of a 3rd Grand Prix World Series cycle is not looking likely at the moment. See him back in the pit lane at the end of the lap, or is it curtains? He's past pit entry and it's game over for Scott Dixon. Exit the last turn. Dixon goes no further, an engine failure sidelines the Kiwi. 12, Roland just behind the 13th. Silence of Dixon and Power have allowed Sean McVern to move up into 8th position. There is Rivera moving up into the points at the expense of Robin Friends. Drivers out of the race so far: Scott Dixon, Will Power, Mitch Evans, Shane Van Gisbergen, Antonio Vince da Costa, and Phil Hudson. Continuing to increase the gap over below at this moment in time. Sonoda 3. As it is, Sonoda will be increasing his lead at the top. Kirkwood has the fast lap plate. There's a move also from Prines on. Prines on. And Roland, I couldn't quite see from that angle. I don't think it was an overtake that time around, but approaching half race distance in this race either way. Kirkwood is making it look so easy. Snowder, 15 seconds off the lead in third. Tandy, and that puts 2 Fonmatels in the top 4. So we now have HRT leading Fonmatel, leading Fonmatel. Next to the one-stoppers has to be Kamui Kobayashi. There goes Marcello on Guven for 14th. Good pass there from the Force India pilot. Hartley. He's now 10 seconds off the lead and dropping further and further back. You see Kobayashi being passed now by Hartley. You can tell that the Minardi is not exactly going quick compared to earlier. Maybe coming in with a one and only stop very, very soon. Even that won't help him. Catch the likes of Kirkwood or Paulo. Roland passing Fines for 11th place. Fines further down the order there, and a couple of positions back. Someone's blowing up, I think. Is that smoke out of the back of Gunther? It's Gunther's car. It's Gunther's Jaguar that is on fire. It's back to reality for Mike Smith. Kobayashi comes in from 7th place. And in comes, I think that was Ayunjin Guven, but out goes the second Jaguar. A home race to forget for the team. Kobayashi rejoining 13th position behind Marcello. They're actually nose to tail. Nasser's got the gap now to less than a second on Snowders. Nasser is clearly the quicker of the two. Kobayashi will pass the likes of Marcello, Fines, Roland and Rivera before they all pit in for their last stops. But when the two stoppers come in for their last stops, it's basically going to be a sitting duck. Board with Rincon chasing third. 7. Master able to move further clear of the drop zone. There goes Nasser on Snowder. That's a change of position between the two Fonmatels. Nasser up into 3rd place ahead of the Japanese. Rincon passes Fern on the same lap. Planes. going through the first of his back markers. I think that might be Topher Van Dorn, but he is coming up to lap. Van Dorn running 19th in last position in the field. As it stands, Sonoda will still be leading the championship. Holding up Kamui Kobayashi, who was able to get round the Force India. And that was so close. So the Minardi going off the circuit. There was another car. Ooh, and the way Marcello slammed on the brakes made Kobayashi go right round the outside, and that could have been so dangerous. Kobayashi flying in the air. He survived that one. Van Dorn comes into the pit lane, but Whincup is out. After passing Verne a lap ago, it's game over for one of Ed Hunter's drivers. At least it promotes Oliver Rowland up to 9th. But this is not the scenario that Hero been looking for. Remaining. Perkins' lead is now just over 11 seconds on Below. Then we look at Frines, who's holding up Kobayashi. Last corner comes Below. 6 seconds per continuing to set some blistering times. And there goes Kobayashi at last on Frines into the points. You see Nazar on course for his second podium finish in the Grand Prix Series. A long career in the series. His Bohemia being passed by Guven. That was for 16th place. Bohemia at the back of the field again, having another day to forget. Continuing to get the gap down, albeit gradually. That's Guven attempting to go on right ahead of the second BAR on Théo Pourchaire. Kobayashi got through on Rivera, he's not ahead of Rowland yet. Guven passes Pourchaire. Still behind Rowland. Out of the plains into Coppice, does Kobayashi go through this time around? The answer is yes. The Japanese through on the Brit. So now we've got around about 8 seconds to make up on Verne. Say though that Verne is likely to be in the pit lane before Kobayashi gets to the rear of the Prost. place, coming up to lap. Stoff Van Dorn. Astra in the lane for Onyx. Lap in the lead, of course, for back-to-back wins. First League One driver to do so this season. Italy in from 5th place. Kirkwood will move in front of Gugan, Gisbergen, and Kobayashi as it stands. Sonoda will still be in the lead heading into the halfway point of the season. On Rivera for the final point. There goes Frines. Marcello is the next driver to potentially send Rivera down the order. At Melbourne Hairpin. There goes Marcello up to 11th. Looking for Amy. It looked like a pass he was just doing there, unless it was the leader. No, it was with Kevin Magnussen. No, sorry, it was Stoff Van Dorn, my apologies. I think both he and Verne got through on Magnussen. Oliver only come into the pit lane looking for Hero, and finds also for Force India. Now this is going to cause a problem for Palou, because it's coming up to these three, some of which have been pitted for their last stops, others haven't. And in comes Kirkwood from the lead. Of lap 38, Palou will go into the lead. Nazo will temporarily go into second position. No, he doesn't, because he's coming as well. Palou's got any chance of going for the victory. Stay out there for as long as possible before he comes in and sets some blistering pace in the last stint. There goes Estra on Porsche for 13th position on track. Hartley's the latest to come in for Arrows. Kobayashi is now on the rear of Verne for 6th place. Brendan Hartley's come out in 8th. Dives to the inside on Van Dorn, and 16th position is now his. One lap after his teammate, he's accepted that second place is the best he's going to be achieving today. Kobayashi has passed Verne at last. Now it's Hartley's turn to by the Frenchman. He doesn't do it into Melbourne Hairpin. Sonoda pits in for Von Mattel, so that should allow Nazar to go back into 3rd position. stop us. Seen him rejoin in P2. Goes in for Force India. There goes Magnussen on Van Dorn. Now, Herpa is going to be coming up to back markers very shortly. That might give Palou the encouragement he needs to start closing in. He might even try and go for the fast stop if he's feeling it. Chasing after his teammate Rivera. Both cars inside the points, which will please Chris Taverny. Consistent gap between Palou and Nasser. Palou's increasing the gap, and Marcello is off the circuit at Coppice. Don't know if he's broken the front wing from that angle. He's only just pitted as well as Marcello. Hoping for a points finish, but all hopes are dashed now. Remember, he had that brake issue which forced him into the pit lane. Pit stoppers. Seen him get back out, still in the points in P10. There's Frines on Estra for 11th position. That's him passed. Frines in 11th, chasing for more points. He's finishing the points, his 5th point score in the last 7. Oh, it sounds like he's off the circuit. He is off the circuit. At McLean's goes Robin Frines. And it continues to get worse for Ed Spencer. It was a spin. It was exactly the same thing as what Marcello did, and it's front wing damage. Verner's past Guven for 9th. He's chasing after Oliver Rowland. Dangerous spot there is Frines. He's got Nazar to go through next. It'll be Tandy and Sonoda. That'll be Frines off into the pit lane. It's not going to be any points for Force India. Estra, 1 position away from a point scoring position. Rowland's got Verne in the fight for 8 is 3 seconds. Verne is getting the gap down all the time. It's just over 3. I think Cairns lost time in the traffic. his luck. Cairns does make it back to the pit lane. Yellow. There's Kobayashi, and that's Marciello, who is unlapping him. That might give Roland and Vern reason to feel encouraged by that. Share on Magnussen into the S's, and that is the Frenchman through on the Dane into 14th. Nazar on his way to his second podium. Tandy is ahead of Sonoda. Got Byron in the pit stops, but Sonoda has been winning him in. Hartley on his own in 6th position. Kobayashi on the one stop has not been able to make it work for him. And he's going to struggle to even keep Roland and Vern back. Look at Estra. Ryan Topher in the back of the position. Three yeses once more. Sixth straight, pulls out alongside, and a point going in the way of the Frenchman after being at the back in the early stages. It's been some recovery from the Onyx driver. And Sonoda has got by Nick Tandy for 4th place. Before Pelot catches up to Van Don. There he is though. Goes Pelot to lap the Carlin. I think he's lost time trying to lap him. 13.2 in sector 2. Yes, but his engine is expired. Alex Pelot is out. Rivera overtakes Guven, which will put him into a point scoring position once Pelot pulls out. Felipe Nasser will go into 2nd position at the expense of the Spaniard. With 11 laps remaining, his engine has given up the ghost. What will this mean for Kyle Kirkwood? Pelot's championship hopes are disintegrating by the minute. The car is on fire, and he's out of the race. Just the pole position point he'll come away with this time. Sonoda up into 3rd place, Tandy now 4th, Hartley 5th, Kobayashi is 6th. Roland, Vern, Estra and Rivera. That's Robin Frines unlapping himself from one of the Cuba. I think that must be Oliver Rowland. And Vern has been able to close in on Rowland throughout that. Sonoda in P3. There is Naz trying to lap the Carlin, and that was really poor, I would say, from Van Dorn in terms of trying to allow the Formatel to go by. Now we see Rivera in the fight with Estra for 9th position. There goes Frines. That is on Vern to unlap himself. Did Roland get back through? I think Roland must have got back through on the Force India to lap. See Kirkwood, 21 seconds clear over Felipe Nasr, who's been chased by Yuki Tsunoda. In 4th position, on course for good points again. Tsunoda lapping Van Dorn. Third win of the season. The only times he's finished a race when he's won. There's Frines on Roland, who goes off the circuit and spins. I don't think Frines forced him off. That looked more like Roland just misjudging corner itself. Coppice corner for Roland drops down the order. Rivera got by Estra, so Rivera up into 8th, Estra now 9th, and Guven will move up into the points, so Roland is now out of the points. And Roland is out of the race. He joins his teammate on the sidelines. Sebastian Buemi is now just 1 position away from a point scoring position in 11th. Vern up into 7th place, but he is chasing Kimura Kobayashi. He's only 3.4 seconds clear of him. And the mechanical gremlins will stop Kirkwood from taking the win here at Donington. Just 7 laps away from the checkered flag. This driver's coming to the lap will be Ayunchin Guven, who's in P10. As it stands in the championship, Yuki Tsunoda will still be in the lead. And Estra in the Onyx, and the team are in desperate need of points. He is out. From 9th position. And Théo Pourchaire, who's just got by Sebastian Buemi, is now up into the points. So BAR may collect a point out of this. Frines into 15th place, so we've just got 15 runners left. This League 1 Donington Park Grand Prix. The fact that Frines on that to solve Kobayashi has allowed Vern to close up on the Minardi. So Vern may be able to get 6th place here. He's got time to do it. 3/10 is the gap. that battle. There it is, look. Vern thought about having a go. It's Kirkwood continuing on. With 5 laps remaining in this race. Vern is still close to Kobayashi here. Might get him at Melbourne hairpin if he's lucky. Look at Kirkwood. Right now, Nazar second. The comments are about to get both drivers on the podium, which will cement their lead in the team's championship. Minardi, Ducati, and certainly HRT. Go in this one. Just 4 laps remaining for the race leader. Just see Sonoda right in the same picture as Nazar. The gap is less than 2 seconds. Vern still hasn't got by Kobayashi yet. Here is, look. On the inside goes Vern on Kobayashi, and Vern has finally passed him. Prost on course for another couple of points. As it stands, will move in front of Onyx into 9th in the team standings. And that result will also be bad news for all those in the bottom 3, the likes of BAR, Jaguar and Carlin. Kirkwood, of course, for victory. He's also, of course, for the fast lap point as well. And both times, previously, he also got the fastest lap in Marrakesh and in Potrero de los Funes. Slowed it. Van Dorn being lapped by Nick Tandy. Carlin have had another day to figure out. They are well and truly off the pace. They're destined for relegation. Not long to go. Back-to-back wins, the first time a League One driver's been able to achieve this season. He's got Ayunchi Guvin right ahead. Still to be lapped, but Guvin will want to stay on the lead. Like just in case anything happens on the last lap. Kobayashi is coming back at Vern at Starkeys, and Kobayashi moves back into 6th position. Sure if Vern made a mistake earlier on in the lap. The move is done for Kobayashi, which will be important for his championship hopes. The gap would now be 9 points. Kobayashi is about to start the last lap of the race. On route to his 2nd podium finish in his Grand Prix Series career. Brendan Hartley, Ryan Baldwin. championship, Nick Tandy. He's just like Stock Van Dorn. So he's been doing that, but he's going to run out of time to do anything about Ducati ahead. And then we look at Yuki Tsunoda. And his teammate. Gap over the line. Now 1.5 seconds. We'll see Kirkwood make his way through the plains for the last time. See the way he's going towards there. I think he's absolutely fine. I think the car's still intact. HRT, who had a very nervy moment when Pelot retired, but Kirkwood has once again dominated here. And this will help his cause in the championship. 2 wins in a row, and it's totally changed the complexion in terms of how this championship could be going. A day to remember again for the team manager of John Munro. Kyle Kirkwood wins the League One Donington Park Grand Prix. HRT are victorious for the 3rd time this season. Topher collects the championship point for BAR. Little consolation in what's been a terrible season for them still. Felipe Nasser collects his 2nd podium finish in the Grand Prix Series. And Yuki Tsunoda bags another podium to his credit in his rookie campaign and remains in the championship lead. Nick Tandy is 4th, ahead of Brendan Hartley, who got the gap down to 2.5 seconds. Kobayashi pulled away from Jonathan Verne. So he will collect 8 championship points by finishing in 6th position. Verne will be 7th, still good points for Prost. They leap ahead of Onyx into 9th place in the team's championship. With Alessio Rivera and Ayunchen Guven, the last drivers on the lead lap. Good points nevertheless for Chris Cavani, with both of their cars getting to the checkered flag. It's a win for Kyle Kirkwood at Donington. 2 wins in a row for him. He can call himself a championship contender. Felipe Nasser 2nd and Yuki Tsunoda making it 2 Fonmatels on the podium. Nick Tandy, the highest of the Brits, in 4th place in the Ducati. Brendan Hartley 5th. Kamui Kobayashi getting back into 6th place ahead of Jean-Luc Verne. And it's Alessio Rivera 8th. Ayunchen Guven 9th. And the final point going in the way of Théo Pourchaire and BAR. Sebastian Buemi 11th, followed by the 2 Carlins of Kevin Magnussen and Stoff Van Dorn. Raffaele Marcello and Robin Frijns were the last of those to finish in 14th and 15th. They had days to forget. Kevin Estre retired, dropping a couple of points. Oliver Ireland also out. Alex Palou lost from 2nd place. Jamie Whincup, Max Gunther retiring in the Jaguar with engine problems. Scott Dixon, Will Power, Mitch Evans, Shane van Gisbergen, Antonio Felix da Costa and Phil Hansen were the rest of those to not finish. The pole position point going to Alex Palou, even though he didn't start the race from pole. He did qualify on pole before a 5-place grid penalty dropped him down to 6th place on the grid. Kyle Kirkwood took the point for fastest lap. John Munro can celebrate once again here at Donington. The Scotsman can see his HRT team leap up the order again. They are now up into 2nd place in the team's championship at the expense of Ducati and Minardi. Fomitel still lead the way heading into the halfway stage. Yuki Tsunoda 9 points clear at the top heading into the mid-season test, which could be an opportunity for the managers to keep a close eye on who can end up being fielded for the remainder of the season and may even beyond that. It's time to run down on the Drivers and Teams Championships in League One in the voice of Topher Smith. And I'll see you for the next round at Hockenheim in a couple of weeks' time. Topher, over to you.
It really is win or bust for Kyle Kirkwood so far this season. 3 victories for the American, and he hasn't scored a single point anywhere outside of those 3 victories. So he has got himself up there in terms of the championship fight, but he is having to do it the hard way. Let's have a look at the standings. Yuki Tsunoda and Kamui Kobayashi continue to be the top 2 in the standings. 90 points, plays 81 between those 2. Kirkwood, with his 3rd victory of the season, has moved up to 3rd in the standings, 78 points for the HRT driver. Shane van Gisbergen down to 4th on 61, 1 ahead of Ayunchen Guven and Delante, who had a bit more of a difficult day today here in Donington. Scott Dixon 6th on 52 ahead of Jimmy Wincup and Raffaele Marcello on 48 points each, Nick Tandy on 46 and Alex Palou propping up the top 10 on 42. And in the teams, Formital's double podium today has kept them in the lead of the standings, 154 points for Ewan Gale's team, 34 ahead of HRT who has moved up to second in the standings. Ducati third on 107, only one ahead of Minardi at the moment. Arrows are 5th on 90 ahead of Lancia on 78, Force India on 71, Cooper Kiro on 69, Prost on 49, one ahead of Onyx on 48, and then BAR, Jaguar and Carlin still in a relegation zone after a bit of a disappointing home event for those three teams today. So it's been another highly enjoyable event here as Donington Park made its debut in the Grand Prix World Series, and I think it did well and truly delivered two excellent races today. And we can't wait to see what will happen at the next round at Hockenheim, which will be the Old Forest layout, but before that we have an upgrade window and the mid-season test to go as well. So the pecking order might change, the driver rosters might change, we could see some very different lineups when it comes to Hockenheim next time. But until then, thank you so much for tuning in. It is always a pleasure to have your company. I'm Topher Smith. Take care.